Hello, dear Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. I know you can't see me. I know that. I'm not a fool, but I'm trying to fix that as we speak. Folks, lovely to be here with you. Let's make this work. How about that? Boom. There we are. Smoking. Folks, great to be here with you. Get my uniform on. 19860. Another one for the books. Folks, very happy to be here with you. Let me get my ear goggles on. And we are ready to go. What's up, folks? How's it going? What's new? What's happening? All right, hit me with where you at? What are you grateful for? I'm BK. All right, let's get serious. What am I actually grateful for? Friendship and heating. Man, grateful for heating. Amused Dave, what's up, boy? Nice to see you. Good times for all. I'm glad you're here. Okay, first time chat here, viewer from Senelf. Welcome, Senelf. Great to see you here. Welcome to the stream. Folks, you know how to, anyone who's been here for any amount of time knows how we greet people. Why can't I close this window? There's a window here with like the hidden Xbox. Music Dave is here from Lithuania. Grateful for good friends. Lovely to be back. Lovely to have you back. Let's see here. Greeting Senelf. Welcome, Senelf. Great to see you. Great to have you here. We have a way of greeting folks who are, it's their first time here. Excellent. Welcome, Senelf. Thank you so much. Julia Temple, welcome from Vienna, Austria. Grateful for good vibes. Yeah, tell me about it. Don't make me break out my bad vibe spray. Aaron says, here from Indiana, grateful for all of the amazing new facts I've learned about my home state from this live stream. There are lots of very interesting facts. You know, you would actually get along with Tonglen, who is our tech support person here, and Tonglen is also in Indiana. Excellent. Folks, happy to meditate today. Today's an exciting one. We're going to be doing something called Tonglen Practice. We talked about it on Friday. We're going to do it now. 19860, California, grateful for walls. Who isn't grateful for walls, right? Emotional walls, blocking off all of our deepest held secrets, and physical walls. Yeah, well, here's one of the keys. This is a very Shinzonian concept that the wall is the window. Actually, I don't even know if that's a Shinzonian or me. Sometimes I attribute things to Shinzen because, whatever. I think that might be me. The wall is the window. The wall is the window. The wall is the window. And often just figuring out just how. How is that the case? Folks, we're going to be doing some Tonglen practice today. I got it wrong last time, or I didn't get it wrong, but I just was like, I wasn't sure. Which one's which? Giving and receiving. That's what Tonglen means. It means giving and receiving. But which one is which? Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Tong means to give. Len means to receive. So this practice is called Tonglen. It's where we metabolize all of the suffering of all of reality. Very exciting stuff. And we use our meditation skills to get there. It's a really good practice for working through difficulty, which I don't know if any of you have ever had that kind of thing, but humans have sometimes had difficulty. Okay. Great. So folks, find a nice comfortable position. I have to change my seating position. Find a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. And when you're ready, we're going to begin. Okay. Find a place where you can arrange yourself so your knees are lower than your hips. We're going to be practicing in relative stillness today, although I want you to allow the practice to instruct the body. If the body needs to move or adjust or this kind of thing, that's okay, as long as it's not unconscious or sudden movements. I think the default is sort of don't move. And then if you find the need to move, just do so slowly and mindfully. As long as you're not like just fidgeting around. Okay, folks, let's do it. Let's meditate. We're going to meditate for 25 minutes. Decide now. Oops. Decide now if you would like to stay for the entire 25, or if you'd like to stop before then. Okay, my mic is peaking. Okay, I should turn this up. Okay. Decide now if you'd like to stay for the entire time, or you want to leave partway through, so you don't have to make that decision during, because if you wait to make it later, you're probably going to bounce. So find that nice comfortable position, and we'll wait for Dave. When Dave is ready, we'll begin. Actually, maybe okay, so Dave and Sanelf, when you're ready for the meditation, we'll begin. Just let us know. All right, it's all up to Sanelf at this point. Here we go. All right, so find that nice comfortable position. And when you're ready, we will begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. Feeling the way the body's breath itself changes and alters the body. As we begin to sweep through the body to be sure we're not holding any undue tension, and starting at the top of the head, I'd like you to notice the sensations as I name them through awareness. So keeping awareness wide, open, spacious, and letting the sensations be there in the middle of these. But not necessarily collapsing the mind down, so we're using the lantern of the mind rather than the laser of the mind. So starting at the top of the head, relax the brow. Relax the muscles behind the eyes. Allow the face to go smooth. Relax the back of the tongue, let the jaw go slack. Relax the neck and the shoulders. Relax the arms And taking a moment to tune into the subtle sensations in the palms of the hands and tips of the fingers. Letting go of any attempt to control the breath, just letting the body breathe as it will. And noticing the natural tightening and relaxing of the upper chest and upper back as the breath comes and goes. If at any point we notice a sense of overwhelm creeping in, we can slow the breath down. Perhaps breathing 7 in, holding for 4, and breathing 7 counts out. Relaxing the belly and the lower back. Relaxing the hips, the upper legs, knees and calves, and relaxing the feet. And now taking a moment to take in all of your experience. Not trying to cram everything in, but just a soft snapshot of everything that you're experiencing at this particular moment. Throughout this practice, we're going to return to this open awareness with some detail. So we don't want the mind to collapse down to the size of the detail we're observing. So reminding the mind to stay open, spacious, connected with these particular sensations in the context of awareness. So I'd like you to begin by recognizing a shape in front of you. So this will involve visualizing, but often people over effort when they're visualizing. So just the barest awareness that there is a diamond shape in front of you. Again, opening to awareness. Simply letting ourselves know that, yes, of course, this small shape is in front of me. But there's a lot of sense data to be gathered here. So this is just one detail. Not using the laser point of the mind to shrink, to become small to the size of this small diamond. And I'd like you to know something about this diamond's nature. It's not just an ordinary diamond. This is a diamond of deep purity. Its nature is this purity. It's freedom. It is free of all of human troubles. Often when we experience something, an object or something in our environment, we put on top of it. We color it with our own personal present moment experience. But this diamond is clear of all experiencing, clear of all interpretation. No mood or temperament. This diamond is deeply free in this way. So holding the sense of this diamond in front of us that is free. It's not that it rejects our human experience, it's that it's free of the suffering that comes with it, the anxiety and worry. The concern, the suffering, the stress. Of course, when we experience something that is in contrast, this free diamond, often the mind points to parts of our experience that are different than this. So we might start to begin to notice our own difficulty. But know that this diamond welcomes us in. Every part of us. It doesn't need us to be different. It is a diamond whose freedom comes from deep acceptance of things as they are. Without collapsing the mind down, see if you can increase the clarity and intensity of awareness of this diamond. Allowing it to have a kind of cosmic importance. We're going to begin to breathe through the diamond, letting our breath come from the diamond, and as we exhale, letting it pass through the diamond. As we inhale in, we gain this clarity and freedom of acceptance, this welcoming nature. The diamond can seem cold if viewed from the wrong perspective, but it's deeply welcoming. As we breathe in, feeling that welcoming nature. As we breathe out, allowing the diamond to take on whatever's occurring within us, whatever narrative of self and world. Allowing ourselves to breathe more deeply if we'd like, breathing in the depth of clarity and acceptance, the welcoming nature of this diamond. Feeling that freeing us. And as we breathe in deeply this clear, pure air of the diamond, recognizing there's something else happening here that the mind may get confused at, might try to wrap itself around, but attend to the experiencing rather than the thoughts around this. That the diamond, as we breathe in, is taking in the difficulties of the world. But noticing, because of this diamond's welcoming, purifying nature, as we breathe in, we don't feel any of these. The air we breathe from the diamond is pure, freeing. But the air and energy that passes into the diamond, we can begin to see subtly as holding human difficulty. All of the difficulties of all sentient beings. And of course, this suffering is great. Suffering is tremendous. And so feeling that suffering without the diamond between us and that suffering can be deeply painful. So as we do this process, if we are feeling the weight of that suffering, this simply means that we've forgotten about the nature of the diamond. The diamond is here to liberate us. It's here to welcome every part of us and every part of the world, not just the suffering. So very simply, we're breathing in the pure, free, clean air of the diamond. And the diamond is breathing in all of the human experiences, including all of the suffering, clarifying it all so immediately, so perfectly. Making it so the air that we breathe is free. In this way we may find a kind of love or appreciation for the diamond. And this is fine. This is a wonderful aspect of our relationship to the diamond. As long as that love is felt with equanimity and not more clinging, a desperate need, a wanting. If we find the mind jumping around, thinking about all of the human suffering, it means we've forgotten the nature of the diamond. In this felt sense. If the mind is trying to find the perfect image or concerned with what it visually looks like, it's possible. That means we've forgotten the nature of the diamond, deeply welcoming of all experience. So all we need to attend to is the nature of the diamond. And we can do this by simply feeling the purity, the free nature of the air that comes from the diamond, even as it takes in all of this other material. Breathing deeply of this nature. Over time, we can begin to learn to rely on this nature. At first, we simply contact this welcoming, kind nature. Eventually we become familiar, and eventually we can learn to abide in this experience. As it becomes easier to abide in this nature, of this kind open, appreciative, transformative nature of this diamond. We can begin to breathe that experience back out into the diamond. Recognizing that it's not only receiving all human experiencing, that reception is contact, it is touching all human experiencing, including suffering. This kind nature that we learn to feel, learn to abide in, is the point of contact with the suffering of the world, with the joy of the world. Eventually learning to breathe out through the diamond and make this contact. As we breathe in the peaceful, transformed nature. As we breathe out through the diamond, it is this nature which is transmitted everywhere and to everything, everyone. And if we come in contact with suffering as we expand out, that's fine. It's not a problem. We simply allow that to return in and through the diamond as we breathe in. And I'd like you to now imagine that your hands are reaching out to take hold of this mystical, cosmic diamond. And for now, as we approach the end of the practice, I'd like you to guide that diamond towards yourself. And for now, we're simply going to place that diamond right in the center of the chest. For a few moments, breathing in the power of this diamond as it enters the body. If it feels like there's a kind of alchemy, kind of depth of inner transformation going with that. If this changes the breathing or the posture going with that. Understanding that the mind has deep powers to heal. Even if it's imaginary, it's true. Doesn't matter if we don't believe, it still works. Recognizing that nothing we can contact is truly imagined. It's all part of our nature. So as we begin to allow a bit of light to enter the eyes, if we're practicing with the eyes closed, allowing them to slowly open, resting them on a single point that is not screen, not text. Allowing awareness to be broad, spacious, and for a moment not worrying about the image, the evoking process that we engaged in, the visualization, but the effect. Breathing into the effect on the body. And how that experience in the body affects the mind. Letting the body be the great teacher. It shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. So staying with the practice, staying in stillness, or actually, rather, stretching, whatever stretching you need to do. All right, tell me what that was like, what happened, what you're like now. Hit me with those digital reports, get those digits slapping away on that keyboard. What was that like? What happened? What do you like now? Or if you want to jump in the Discord and tell me what your experience was, that's a very efficient way to get support. That, folks, is what's called Tonglen Practice, giving and taking. We had a heavier emphasis on the receiving side, which is fine, especially when you're building the skill. And then eventually you can do the other half, which is where the breath is going out to all beings in that way. And purified, free. In a sense, we're doing what we're doing with many of the practices where we're arranging all of the sense data in an appropriate way to have a complete practice. So suffering, difficulty, pain is a big experience. So we're emphasizing, like, how do you process that? So if they're suffering, like, it hurts, it's like, okay, we've forgotten about the diamond. So it's like it sets up the world in relationship to this diamond, inner and outer. And Musadev says, powerful meditation felt very accepting and perfect. Lovely. Oh, Sanelf said, I have a lot of painful parts inside. And this feels like a tiny start to help relieve the pain. Cha-ching. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I'm curious, Sanelf, if you're using the word parts from an IFS perspective or just generally painful parts. Yes, we talk about healing those parts and those difficulties all the time here. That's what we do. We're not here to just muck around and get a little relaxed. We're here to be free, deeply free. Okay, I'm just typing what we're doing in the chat oops, that's not right, Q&A on Discord. So if you want to jump in, okay, here we go. Okay, from a DID perspective, is that DID? What is DID again? It's not ideal parent. What is that? I'm going to search DID. Maybe you can beat me to it. Dissociative identity disorder. Okay, great. So yeah, so if Yeah, well, that's great. So I would highly recommend, I want to recommend something. We barely know each other, but I'm going to highly recommend a book called No Bad Parts. Just came out last year, or this year actually. The audiobook is actually really excellent because it's like the writer, the creator of IFS breaks in and is like, has writing sections. So it's like a closet seminar buried inside the book. And I think those same exercises are in the book, but it's just something about having the person actually speaking to you. It's very powerful in that way. So I really, really recommend that book. I've read it. I think I'm reading it second time now in it just came out. So it was that good that I'm reading it again, immediately. Okay, where the heck is, here it is. This is where, nope, here it is. This is where we have our chats. Okay. Aaron B says, and also PS, on this channel, look up anything that says IFS or parts or kind awareness. All of those are part of the constellation of healing those experiences. DID is the attachment version of that, or synopsis of that is basically people are converging that internal family systems therapy is like the lens that's becoming very popular. Look at that through, which is basically just conflicted parts that are pushing and pulling and have different struggles and that kind of thing. I definitely identify with that 100%. There's a lot of stuff on here about parts work. Okay, so Aaron says,
it was a little tough for me to follow. The instructions felt really concept-oriented and I couldn't really get in the groove with them. Could also just be that my mind is extra busy today.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. Maybe that's just it was the case, or maybe it's maybe try it again. For me, it was extremely experiential. I think it's anytime we change meditation objects, it feels like we're so stuck on the instructions. But the key is, it's really simple. Right now, just imagine there's a diamond that's in front of you. That's it. Its nature is absolute purity, etc. Then we set ourselves up, and it's just this receiving thing. Well, actually, before we do that, we're breathing in that purity. We're just sitting there breathing in this purity. The mind, the conceptual mind, will tell you, I've got to figure this out. What does that mean? I'm breathing in the pure. Whatever. Experientially, you can just do this stuff. You can just, okay, that's the nature of this thing. I'm breathing it in. Leave it there. So in a sense, it's like sidelining the conceptual mind. But if that doesn't clarify, or if you want to jump on here and explain, and I can maybe clarify, then we'll go from there. Okay, so we have a couple people here in the live chat. Okay, if folks want to talk about their experience, raise your hand. I'll pop you in here and we can chat. This is we're on the live stream now on twitch.tv/deepmindfulness. You don't need to, but if you'd like to, raise your hand. We'll go from there. I find that sometimes people pop into these things and they do not want to share. So I'm going to invite Sened to invite to speak. And if you want to, you can accept. Otherwise, I think I did, right? Invite to speak. There you go. If you want to pop in here, we can. Love to hear that. Aaron says, yes, I think it was different than what I'm accustomed to, and I want to try it again. Yeah, I had a student who's like, oh, can we do something related to Tonglen? And I was like, this is how I would do it. Dave says the following. Okay, Dave says,
My conceptual mind getting weaker. I don't try to make a sense of something anymore as I used to before. Is it good, bad?
I'm not sure if you're saying, that's all a statement, you're like, is it good or bad? Who knows? Or if you're saying, is that movement good or bad? I think the capacity to step away from conceptual structures is very, very, very good as a skill. Doesn't mean you want to be trapped outside of any conceptual structures. You couldn't, go to the bathroom or take a drink or whatever. But it's a good skill to have. Sened is here live with us. Sened, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Is that how I should pronounce your name, Sened?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Great. So, do you have any question or report from the meditation or anything at all? I'm not sure if you heard the meditation on the live stream,
I've heard of I've heard of Tonglen before as breathing in the pain of the world and breathing out the healing. And I really like this version of it where this felt very positive for me.
Great. Yeah, I think that what happens is people give the instruction sort of all at once, and they're like, oh, you breathe in the suffering. And it's like, that sounds terrifying and difficult. And I found that very difficult. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, no, the breathing in the suffering feels, I'd love to help the world, but it doesn't feel good.
Right. And I think that part of what's happening, exactly. So part of what's happening is that people aren't resourcing themselves correctly or appropriately. So that what they're doing is, what's happening actually, and this goes to what Senef was saying. We're talking about parts. We're breathing in the suffering of the world, but what typically happens is a vulnerable part of us who feels suffering, the part that's like, oh, reality hurts, and is used to feeling suffering, takes that on and is like, ow, this is the most painful possible thing, because that part is so focused on suffering already. So what we're trying to do is find part of our nature which is actually free and liberated already, because that's, everyone has that as part of their nature. We're sort of I was going to say personifying. I don't know what objectifying. That's what we're objectifying that to some degree, turning it into an object. This is correct usage of object creation. Turning it into an object and just saying this thing, its nature is to purify that suffering. We never have to touch it. So any parts that feel like they could be threatened or hurt by that pain, they're off the hook. And we say, well, if those parts are getting overwhelmed by that suffering, we forgot the diamond. So we're putting ourselves back to this piece that has this nature to transmute this difficulty, and we just keep remembering that's its nature. It can do it. That's all it does. And once we really get that loop going, we really feel that, okay, I really breathing in that free, spacious, kind, air, so to speak. All those parts calm down. Plus, we're slowing our breathing down, which calms the nervous system. Slowing the breathing down, calming the nervous system, and the experience ends up being that all we're feeling is that sort of peaceful, like, okay, whew, like actually it's fine, and all that suffering essentially is sort of divided. It's out there. Eventually we can start to notice, okay, it's this diamond's nature. It's taking this in. That's pretty impressive, but we have a little bit of distance from that. Once we really get that set in place, we can start to say, okay, once we really get that familiarity with that, we can say, okay, I'm going to breathe out that piece through the diamond back out to everything. So for me, it's just a matter of setting it up carefully, slowly, remembering what are we attending to. And different people do it different ways. They'll use a flame. They'll say the flame is like inside of you. I typically think that difficulties people have in meditation are almost always like a matter of like order of things that you learn things in, or like emphasis on certain details. So for several reasons, I like the diamond. I like to put it in front of me so it's not inside the body, because that can be overwhelming. It's like there's some space there. I like to set up the first part that I mentioned first, and then sort of build out from there, because that's the stability that everything gets built around. So anyway, this is all just my own personal preference, but I'm glad it was helpful. Anything else you want to report, or any questions?
It is helpful, which is nice, because sometimes it seems like not much is helpful. So this is very welcome. And yeah, I don't think any human needs to bring in more suffering. So I really like the way this was set up.
Yeah. And this is, there tends to be this idea that like early Buddhism, the concept was like we're going to get rid of suffering. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to, eliminate it. As Buddhism sort of moves, steps forward through time, it says, well, we're not going to get rid of it. We're going to transmute it. We're going to change it. We're going to use alchemy, and it's going to change that, which is similar to what we're doing today to some degree. And then later on in Buddhism, they say, that all that suffering is awake. It's actually free. It is already free. It's not something we need to fight. And I think that tendency to fight and be like, I can't take this thing or whatever it is. It's like I'm in opposition with it, is very painful in and of itself, and it's isolating and alienating for these different parts. Awesome. I should mention before we disappear here, I should mention, this is just for everybody, the Progress of Shinsight course, which is going to be covering some of this exact material, awakening and how it relates to having a fulfilling life, is I think we have like 2 spots left. I would love to have folks who are really interested in the course. So it's 2 spots left. Let me put the link in the chat. deepmindfulness.io/POS. Love to have you there if that's of interest. Awesome. Okay, send it. I'm going to pop you into the audience here. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much for jumping on. Anyone else? Any other reports, comments, questions, queries, challenges, or life concerns? Senelf. So is Sened and Senelf the same person? Sened, Senelf? Welcome either way. I think so. Yes. Okay. Well, awesome. Okay. Now it makes more sense. Or now it makes the connection. Okay. Any other questions, comments, queries, challenges, or life concerns? Amused Dave says the following.
Let me know if you'd need help setting up donation alerts. I'll also have very awesome meditation to share WU. I think you will like it.
Oh, great. I'm excited to hear about this. If you want to jump on, I think I should probably jump off. I have a thing coming up. But next stream and tell me all about it, or next time you're here, you can tell me all about it. This post-meditation discussion has been very clarifying. Cha-ching. Then I wanted to mention there, Dave. Oh yeah, so this is something I thought about recently. I'll just mention it since you're here. I was talking to a few people. This idea around balancing values is so often people's difficulty is not that they're not living their values, but that their values aren't balanced. So this is why I have people do the exercise, write down their values, which you can find at deepmindfulness.io/tools, balancing values, and then you write out your top 10 values, and then you give them a score. How are they doing right now? And it's very important. You're pretty generous. Like it's a scale from 1 to 10. You just say, okay, this is like a 7. This is a 9. This is whatever. Some of them should be pretty high. No one's really all. It's a relative scale. So if you put everything at a 5, we bump everything up to everything must be a 10. But then you look and you see places where there's holes in your values, and you're just looking at the last couple months. And it's really important to have a fulfilling life to make sure those are balanced, because the tendency in our culture is like, if I value this one thing, there are things in culture that are highly valued that we tend to, prize over other things. And, like being free is not as high as like being, I don't know, what are the other ones? Like being popular or being, wealthy or successful. These are valued culturally much higher than like being free or fulfilled. Like if I was a janitor and was like deeply, deeply fulfilled, society would be like, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's, that's fine, you're fulfilled, but now you're, what's up with that? So the key is to look at all the values, score them, and then say, okay, and focus on the areas where there are gaps, and that is the likelihood of us having a more fulfilling life goes up dramatically. So just remember, with any goal, this is what we're talking about goals, any goal, any sort of aim, whatever it is, just remember that if our values are unbalanced, we're going to suffer tremendously. The example that I always give is someone who says, career success and family are both important values to me, but I also work 80 hours a week. And it's like, well, how's that going to work out for you? You never get to see your family, and you're always sort of in this place. So that's, it just doesn't work out. And it's usually confusing to people, because they say, I value this so much, it's so important to me. And then why is there still so much suffering? It's because they're valuing one thing over everything else. And that one thing takes precedent, and their other true values are just pressed down. So anyway, I want to share that for everybody, and in the conversation around values. Folks, lovely to be here with you. As always, we're going to be back here in fewer than 48 hours. Tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell your middle school classmates. I'm assuming everyone's in middle school. I would love if you try that tool. That's any class that I do, any thing I do with new students. It's guaranteed that we're going to do this. And at first, people are like, "This is a weird exercise," and then as we move forward over time, everybody's like, "Oh, okay, this is central to the way that I teach, is to come back to values." Age 53 here, but I remember middle school. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. They allow people in different grades, different times. Okay. So we'll be back here in fewer than 48 hours to meditate here again. What was the point of that? Oh, the point was to tell everyone you know about the stream. Let them know that's a great way to do service. That's great. Thank you there. 19860. Yeah, that's a great imagination that you're 53. Okay, folks, we're going to jump off here. Let's listen to some music together. So before we go, check out this music and let this be an opportunity. Remember that experience of our diamond here as we listen to the sounds. Recalling the experience in the body. That peaceful, awake experience. That place we're storing that diamond. Recognize ourselves as the carrier of that experience. Many people in their lives will never experience this, but we can show them just from our way of being, not even through our words, but just our way of being. So in that way, letting this particular moment be the great teacher shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Folks, as always, practice well, take care of each other, have fun, and we'll see you all very, very